I can tell you that there is a strong majority of people who are still taking the placebo, who are still making their changes. Because we know that, like in a Parkinson's study, you give Parkinson's patients a placebo and more than 50% of them, their intention tremors go away. But if you take those people after they're making 200 times the amount of dopamine by getting a saline injection or an injection of distilled water, they're making their own dopamine, and Parkinson's is a deficiency in dopamine. When they return back to their life, and they see their caregiver and they play chess with their friends and they see their wife or sleep in the same bed or whatever it is, their personal reality is creating their personality, reminding them of who they are. Their disease comes back because they're back to the same identity. So we know then...
coming out of drug rehab and going right back into their environment.
Exactly, and that's how strong the environment is. So our students who continue to do the work are still sustaining and producing more changes.
Wow.
Now that's the majority of our students because our students are committed. But we do have students that don't make it. Why? Because we're doing something that is unknown. We're doing something, not everybody is going to make that. Like not everybody's going to finish the mile. Not everybody's going to make the journey to the top of the mountain. You know, it's a journey. And so we ask people then, the ones that have had chronic diseases or conditions, the majority of them, by the way, are still doing exceptionally well. Some of them have had the disease return. And what we have them do is measure. Every 3 months or 6 months, you measure. Why? Because this is not about denial. This is about knowing. So the people who have had some conditions return, we ask them to measure, and then we ask them to go at it again. And if their values aren't changing, we ask them to intervene with other medical means or whatever they need to improve. So the ones that have had the healings, though, the majority of them are still doing exceptionally well. Some of them that stop taking the placebo or they lose their job, they lose their mother, they lose their life, and they get stressed, and they go back to their old self. Well, it's a matter of time when we're going to start seeing some of those conditions return. My God, I mean, we're programmable human beings.
Yeah.
If my doctor's enthusiastic about a new drug, I'm going to be enthusiastic too. But you know that blue pills work better than red pills. We know that if you name a drug that a person can't pronounce, they're going to be intimidated by the drug and they're going to surrender to it. If you charge more for the drug, it's going to work better. We would just know these things, so there's programmable things that are evident. But then, you know, there are some very hard science things as well. You know, well, placebo works really well for pain. Placebo works really well for anxiety. Placebo works very well for inflammation. Placebo works very well for well-being. We know that. But in doing the research that we did and understanding how the placebo works and then teaching it, I am very pleasantly surprised at the effects that we produced that were way outside of what I expected. So the person's belief then that they could get better from their condition has added to the effect that they got better from their condition. So to me, there's so much of it that is belief. And when do I believe that germs create disease? Hardly. If I believe that germs create disease, and I was nervous about germs everywhere, in the crazy clinic that I used to be in quite a bit, but we have and run, with hundreds and hundreds of people moving through there, there's snot flying everywhere. If I believed in germs, I would be sick every day. I just don't believe that I'm susceptible to germs and that I need a flu shot. I don't believe that. I just don't. And I've never had a flu shot, and I very rarely get sick, but that's my belief. But some people believe that they need the flu shot. But no, it's programmed for a lot of people to think if they don't get the flu shot, they're going to get sick. So you watch a television commercial, and television commercials pay attention. They're dreams. Pay attention. They're going to create some weird, dreamy state. There's going to be some emotion that's created. And the moment the emotion's created, there's going to be a brand or a symbol. That's called programming. And so people stare into a tube and they are in trance and their brain's in alpha and they're accepting all of this information. And They have a headache, and the first thing they do is they think of what's going to take their headache away, based on what they've been exposed to. Now, you would say that's free will. That's not free will. That's informed choice based on what you know. I mean, I know that virus software companies have been caught creating viruses. You know, I mean, I know that there's self-interests in things. Would I expose myself to a potential agent if there's no epidemic? Probably not. I mean, 18 out of 36 studies are published that show the effects, and the other 18 that show the harm aren't published. Where do they go? I just question the true intent, and I just don't trust the process as well as it's being represented. Now, does it mean then that I don't think that people should be immunized or they shouldn't get vaccines? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in a community where there is poor water, poor food, weak immune systems, rampant poverty, high stress hormones, yeah, those people are really susceptible to a lot of things. And so I do see there's certain ways to help them. But the hype in the media around certain things that has to do with scarcity and fear and what that does, I question that, and then I question the self-interests that go along with the pharmaceutical companies. And certain pharmaceutical companies have been caught putting the very agents in their vaccines. They've been caught 40,000 samples with the very agent that they were using to take away or to reduce is an active agent right in it. So you won't hear Baxter Labs talk about that, but if you look, you'll find it. So I just don't have the ability right now to say 100% of it is good.
Gotcha.
And I don't have I'm not the type of person who's a conspiracy theorist either. But I do question reality.
Yeah.
And I do question what is done for self-interest and for profits. And I do question, and you will see it, by the way, exposed more and more, that a lot of research has been suppressed, and that's what I question.